Okay. We are live. I'm going to give a moment for people to start flooding in. Give a moment for people to start flooding in. Okay. All right. I'm also testing out this quality too, since I am streaming in 1080p. So those of you who are watching, let me know if the audio and video quality is fine. You know what I'm saying? So I get to use this stream to kind of test out this quality. I think it looks a little bit better from what I can see on my end, but I need y'all to confirm it for me. All right, so it's gonna give a moment for y'all to join in. Give another moment. So far, so good. Right. Shout out to Sky Village Faction in the building. All right, you're saying everything's on point. The audio and video is on point. Okay, there's no skipping or anything like that. Let me know. All right. I just want to make sure there's no jerkiness in the video. I want to make sure there's no cutting out the audio. I want to make sure the video quality is good. So far, you're saying everything is okay. So I'm trying out, 1080p streaming now. And then I found a way to cut down on some bandwidth and improve my throughput. So that way I have better streaming quality. And there's been some adjustments made on StreamYard's end. So hopefully things are maintained this way. Now, this is during the day. So during the day, there's not a lot of strain on the network. So, things are okay to come out like this. But I want to make sure in the evenings when I go live as well, things are just this good as well. Because I want to make sure you guys are getting the full return on your investment by checking us out, supporting us, etc. All right. So shout out to my brother Yahweh Israel in the building. Derek Israel, what's going on? Quincy White, Stacks 2296, what's going on? What quality did you stream in prior? 720p. 720p is what I was streaming in prior. Now I stepped it up to 1080p. All right, I had to pay a little bit more to do it, but I mean, if it's worth it, then I don't mind making the sacrifice for y'all. Shout out to Lem Joyner, Torio the Most High, Yosef Donald, T Brown, Andre Bell. Says your internet is clean. Thank you. I appreciate that. So Lem Joyner says you're a full stack developer. Oh, okay. Software developer, web application. I could definitely use that. So Lem, email me again and let me see if we can set up a discussion. I could probably use your services. All right. Shout out to Cheryl in the building. What's going on? P Shavers 206. That's crazy. Yeah. So I mean, it is what it is. It looks good. You know what I'm saying? Y'all saying everything is on point. So I'm gonna roll with that. I got natural lighting going on this time. You know what I'm saying? That's even better. Okay. So we're gonna begin in a few minutes. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button as you join it in. All the support, if you want to support what we do here, all of that is in the description below. If you're brand new, hit that subscribe button, click on that bell icon and hit the all option. All right. And make sure you guys share this video everywhere, all social media outlets. Okay. All right. Shout out to Dr. Smith. What's going on? What's going on? All right. All right, family. So, almost 5 minutes in. I'm gonna give a couple more seconds and we can get started on the 5-minute mark. All right. Take a look around some stuff while we wait. Bring this down some too. Okay, that should be good. All right. All right. Okay. All right. So we had our 5-minute mark, so let's go ahead and get started. All right. Shout out to Scott Garrett Headley in the building. What's going on? What's going on? Hold on. Let me do this. All right. I also promoted a few people to moderator admins. All right. So congratulations to everybody just got promoted. All right. Millie Love 1 has been promoted. Stacks 2296 has been promoted. So you guys are 2 of the 4 new admins that I added. All right. And the reason why I picked these individuals is because they've been here for a while. They know how things work. They know how we get down. And they're supportive of what we do here. So I trust their discernment when handling the chat. All right. So, y'all 2 would be my my mods for right now, my admins for right now, and keep everything in check in the chat. All right. Okay. All right, family. So, all right, so let's go ahead and get started. All right. So, first things first, let me give you guys a shout out about what's going on Patreon. I want to say peace and shalom to everybody before we get started. This is your brother Divine Prospect, Kingdom Harvard Ministries. This is our Wednesday check-in session. So typically when I do check-ins is during the day. Check-ins is like an informal form of the live stream where I'm just checking in, just freestyle like we normally do. But I don't really go as hard, as heavy, as we do Friday nights, because I try to reserve that fire for Friday nights. But that doesn't mean we still can't turn up. But I want to welcome everybody to the show. If you're brand new, thank you for showing up. If you're my day ones, what's going on? You know how we get busy down here. So before I get to the Patreon and I'll let you guys know what's going on the Patreon, let me give you some updates, okay? So first and foremost, just so you guys know, we have 2 special shows coming up. I'm trying to have them scheduled before the end of the month. All right, so if all goes well, this Freestyle Friday, I'll have Matt Sal in here, aka So Real, who's a Christian apologist. He's been, doing apologetics, against the Israelite community for some time now, for several years now. And I was supposed to have been scheduled him on the show, didn't get a chance to. But now that the schedule is clear, I'm scheduling him for this Friday. So this Friday, we'll have a Christian apologist, Matt, aka So Real, on the platform, and we will be getting it in. All right. Now, also, so you guys know, Millennial Rabbi, that's his name that he goes by on IG. All right. That's the rabbi that had the discussion with young Pharaoh. All right. I spoke with him to try and get him on the show. He said he wouldn't be able to make it on the show. He's interested, but he wouldn't be able to make it because he said his encounter with young Pharaoh, got him exhausted and he wanted to take a break from that. But he said that he has 2 other colleagues that may be interested as well. So I'm waiting to hear back from him on those 2 colleagues so they can get in touch. And as soon as I hear from them, I will have 2 Jewish people on the platform, 2 Jewish rabbis on the platform, and we will be getting busy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really looking forward to that, man. I know that's going to be a great dialogue, you know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to get it scheduled before the end of the month. This Friday, like I said, it's going to be me and Matt, aka So Real, Christian apologist. So if I have the rabbis on, I'll schedule them for sometime next week to get for those rabbis in, or as many rabbis or associates he has that want to come on here. I mean, we can have up to, I think, 8 guests. You know what I'm saying? She'll give me 7 of them on here. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it'll be light bars. You know what I'm saying? It's light work. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to take a different approach. I try to, you know what I'm saying, avoid the conspiracy theories, finger pointing, and just trying to get to the nitty gritty facts. You know what I'm saying? We're going to deal with several things as far as identity and culture. We're going to deal with some elements of the authenticity of Jews in the diaspora in certain areas. We're going to touch on Midrash HaHalakha and its development in different environments to help to validate our Israelite identity and culture over here in the Americas. We're going to see if they agree with any authentic African Jewry that's in the continent of Africa today, more specifically West and Central Africa. We're going to go into historical accounts in regards to Black Jews in Africa. We're also going to touch on maybe some Talmudic references. And if we got to transition to the Hadashah, we'll be able to do that as well. And then probably, like I said, since we're going to be doing some midrash for halakha, we're probably also going to do some midrash in regards to prophecies, right? Eschatology, and, how it applies to those in a diaspora, right? Including us, and kind of get their take on it, and kind of hash out any differences we may have in an amicable way. Amicable don't mean we're going to be soft. We're going to be straightforward. But at the same time, we're going to be respectful to the guests. Because I don't want to scare nobody away or anybody think that, these stigmas and stereotypes that's out there about our community is consistent across the board. You feel what I'm saying? So we're working to kind of, uproot that so that way we can put a better diplomatic representation of what we're about on display. All right. So again, we have Mac, aka So Real, coming up this Friday. Christian apologist. Me and him going to be going back and forth. And then by the end of the month, hopefully next week, we'll have the two rabbis on here who are associates of at Millennial Rabbi on IG, the rabbi who had the debate with young Pharaoh. They will be here on this channel. All right. So hopefully you guys enjoy those dialogues. Now, in the process of those dialogues, I'm going to try to bring out some new subject matter to discuss that I think that you guys will enjoy. All right. So I've been in my bag recently. I've been going through and perusing through the material that I have. I've been acquiring new material. And for those of you who are part of the Patreon, man, we're going to transition and segue into that right now. I just overloaded y'all with books. I got a new subject now that I'm sharing on Patreon, which is called website suggestions, which are suggestions to certain websites that give you access to certain libraries to help you with your studies. And then I also have 2 new videos, okay, on Patreon. So let me go ahead and give you guys some insight on that so you can see that real quick. And then from there, we'll segue into freestyling, Q&A, open panel if we have time, and then we'll go away from there. All right, we'll transition off from there. All right, shout out to Baruch Yapayahu in the building. Vanessa Satterwhite, what's going on? My brother Jack Max, aka S. McGee, what's going on, my brother? Sister Gail from Remarkable Ministries, what's going on, sis? We got to follow up sometime either tomorrow or Friday. All right. So I appreciate you and your husband and you guys supporting the ministry. Shout out to Quincy White, 617. Let's get it. What's going on? What's going on? Appointed Music in the building. D-Ach, what's going on? My brother Akaz Trap Gabar, what's going on? My brother, what's going on? All right. All right. Roland Walker, what's up? What's up? Roland Walker, he says right here, he says, you added a whole library this week. Yes, I overwhelmed y'all with the material and I got tons more. Shout out to Mike Prayon in the building. What's going on? My brother Renzo Roberson. What's going on, my brother? What's going on? All right. Yes, I overloaded y'all with tons of material, man. And if you guys are not signed up for Patreon, you are missing out. Okay, there's tons of exclusive stuff on there, man. It's worth every penny you invest and pledge to support the ministry. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys some of the stuff that I've been adding to the Patreon recently. Okay, some great sources on there, man, about a variety of different things. All right, so let me go ahead and bring it up on the screen real quick so you guys can check it out. All right, let me also wanna think if I zoom in, it'll be a little better. All right, like this. Okay, so let me go ahead and share the screen with y'all. All right, you guys let me know if there's any audio visual quality issues as we're going along with the show, okay? All right. Okay, so I'm going to show you some things, all right? So you guys are looking here on the screen in regards to the Patreon, okay? Let me go ahead and let me zoom in a little bit more. All right. So there's 139 images, 7 links, 1 poll, 33 videos. All right. So those of you who are not part of Patreon, you're missing on 144 exclusive posts. Okay. All right. So I recently added this website suggestion. This is the Center for the Study of New Testament Manuscripts. All right. So those of you who's interested in doing textual criticism on actual manuscripts, you want to see what the manuscripts looks like. And you actually want to take a stab at it, you know what I'm saying? Here's an opportunity to do so. All right, so I have all that information on here. I added this new book called White Fragility. Why it's so hard for white people to talk about racism by Robin DiAngelo. forward by Michael Eric Dyson. This is an awesome read. All right. This is not a racist book. All right. This is somebody that is confronting white privilege. And a lot of times in order for white privilege to keep that status, they are very evasive at talking about the root issues behind, racism, race, equality, etc. So he actually confronts this and goes head to head with it. And what he does is that he tries to find constructive means to bridge the gap for white and black people to actually talk about issues concerning race. So you guys definitely need to sign up for the Patreon, even if it's just to get this book right here, right? This is a rare find. This is an excellent book, all right? Also, that video I told you guys about where I had the discussion with the two Catholics, the white Catholic couple, all right? So what I decided to do was upload what I have now, upload it to Patreon so Patreon can check it out. All right. So again, I still have to get the audio tweaked on here. From the feedback I've gotten, people said that it was okay. They can make through it. I wasn't 100% satisfied with it, but from the feedback I was getting from Patreon members, they were saying that it wasn't too bad. So I'll think about it. I still want to, get it tweaked by an audio engineer. I'm still working on that. But if you do want to check it out, if you're on Patreon, here's your opportunity. Or if you want to sign up for Patreon, here's an opportunity to check it out. Again, this was a great build that I had with them. And again, this is another means of how to diplomatically convey our worldview to the outside world and those who are in opposition of our perspective. All right. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back with y'all. Okay. All right. So that's that. And again, like I said, you guys can check it out. All right. Also, I dropped another book. It's called Family and Household Religion. All right. Towards a synthesis of Old Testament studies, archaeology, epigraphy, and cultural studies. All right. Now, I try to tell people the best way to get into this culture, because I have a lot of people inbox, email me, say, Divine, man, what material can I get so I could be on point with you? The first thing I say to them, I said, hey, sign up for the Patreon, because on the Patreon, all those sources are there, right? I mean, if you go through each and every source that I posted on the Patreon, we also got the Biblical Hebrew course and everything like that. If you go onto the Patreon, I mean, you have everything that you need to be up to speed in regards to the things that I speak about on this platform. You know what I'm saying? But some of the early, I would say, sources or material that I recommend for people who really want to get a strong foothold in this would be anything that deals with culture, archaeology, and language, right? So you can understand the text. You know what I'm saying? And also the formation of the Tanakh, as well as the formation of the Brit Hadashah, and as well as the Syriac lineage of the Brit Hadashah, how it ties into the Aramaic, I would say, original, especially for the book of Matthew, the book of Matthew, right? But this is one of those books that I recommend to get started in so you can understand the culture. And see, that's the problem. A lot of times people want me to speak from a religious perspective when it comes to being an Israelite, and I don't. I can speak objectively about it, and I can play devil's advocate or whatever, but, like the shirt says, you know what I'm saying? It's death to dogma. You know what I'm saying? And how do you get rid of dogma? You have to take a different approach into understanding what it is to be an Israelite, right? So this is one of the great books to do so. And again, this is a collection of various biblical scholars and archaeologists who have discussions in regards to family and household religions in ancient Israel and its environment. And you got to understand the familial cults. I went over this before to understand how things got to the national stage. Okay. But you can go ahead and check out that book as well. I added this other book. It's called The Stolen Bible, From Tool of Imperialism to African Icon by Gerald O. West. It's another excellent book from Bill Publishing. The Stolen Bible tells the story of how South Africans have interacted with the Bible from its arrival in Dutch imperial ships in the mid-1600s through to contemporary post-apartheid South Africa. Solon book emphasizes African agency and distinguishes between African receptions of the Bible and African receptions of missionary colonial Christianity. Through a series of detailed historical, geographical, and hermeneutical case studies, the book analyzes South African reception of the Bible, including the earliest African encounters with the Bible, the translation of the Bible into an African language, the appropriation of the Bible by African independent churches, the use of the Bible in the Black liberation struggle, and the ways in which the Bible is embodied in the lives of ordinary Africans. All right, so that's also important. And I think that those of you who are interested in regards to the interactions between, the indigenous African populace and the missionaries coming and bringing the Bible and Christianity, that book is excellent. It's an excellent source. All right. The Textual use of the Septuagint and biblical research, complete revised and expanded 3rd edition. All right. Again, this is by Emmanuel Tove. Like I said, if you want to know one of the foremost scholars in regards to textual criticism of the Hebrew Bible, the Tanakh, is Emmanuel Tove. So I have tons of his work. I gave this one out so people can understand how the Septuagint is important in doing textual criticism of the Hebrew Bible. All right. This right here goes in-depth into it. So it's another video. Shout out to my brother, The Y, who's also a supporter of this ministry. He came into town recently. He invited me to have a sit down with him for his Trends TV platform. You guys can also go to Roku. If you have Roku, there's a Roku TV channel called Trends TV. And also Trends TV is on Instagram. So follow them on Instagram as well as the Roku channel. All right. Now, this right here was a recording from my phone while we was having the dialogue. It's not the full dialogue. This is just maybe about 15 minutes of it that we captured. And this is like, not professionally captured. It's captured with my cell phone. But if you want to see the actual episode, it should be coming on the Trends TV platform soon. And it should also be airing on CW Atlanta. All right. So we're talking about major network broadcasting. All right. So shout out to my brother, The Y, for reaching out to me for the interview, man. I thought it was a great build that we had. They had a talent show showcase that they were doing out here in Atlanta. And when he came into town, he said, Divine, man, I need to get you on this platform. I said, all right, cool. So we did it. I thought it was a great bill, and you guys will see it on TV soon, right? But before it launches on TV, you guys can check it out here on the Patreon. All right. All right. So there's another one we here, the Dead Sea Scrolls Reader, Calendrical and Sapiential Texts. All right. So this goes into a lot of the peripheral texts of the Dead Sea Scrolls, as well as honing in or focusing on the calendrical text, and pretty much giving you the translations of them, and also go into details and commentary about other things in regards to the text and stuff like that. For those of you who subscribe to the Enochian calendar, which I no longer do, this will be a great resource for you. And even those of you who don't subscribe to it, all right, who want to understand it, right, in a material cultural function, right? This will be a great source. I'm going to be adding more sources like this as well. And as you can see, it's edited by Donald W. Parry and Emmanuel Tove. Okay. All right. I threw up another website. This is the ETCSL homepage. Introduction. Sumerian is the first language, the electronic text corpus of Sumerian literature. Now, remember when King David the Lucid Fire came on here and I had one site up that you can go ahead and check cuneiform text? Well, here's another source that you can go check out the primaries for all Sumerian texts. And this is an excellent source to fact check people that got the Zachariah Stitchin conundrum, you know what I'm saying, or syndrome. That's what I call it, Zachariah Stitchin syndrome. And that goes for my Nubian brothers and sisters, because a lot of the stuff that Dr. Malachi Z. York taught in regards to the Anunnaki and the Elohim of the biblical text, a lot of it comes from Zachariah Stitchin's work, and if you want to source anything that they reference in regards to the Anunnaki, here's all the primaries on this website. So what I'm doing is just equipping, giving you all the tools that you need to fact check anybody out here. Okay, so you can be independent. You can learn independent of these teachers, even independent of me. I give you the tools. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do. We empower the community. We edify and equip y'all. You know what I'm saying? All right. So we have that reference on there. There's also the Dead Sea Scrolls. All right. The Leon Levy Dead Sea Scrolls Digital Library. So I revealed for you guys what the website is for that. So you can go check out the actual microfiches of all of the Dead Sea Scrolls and check it out for yourselves. All right. I use some of these in previous lectures that I've done, but you can actually see the actual manuscripts themselves. All right. It's really, really great source. And again, I'm giving you guys all the tools you need. All right. So that's where it stops here. However, there is some more sources. Let me show you guys this without actually giving everything away. I don't want to give everything away, right? But anyway, so we scroll past those sources. We go down further. We have another book I put up called Exploring the Origins of the Bible. Again, Manuel Tove is on this as well. Excellent source if you want to know how the text was actually compiled into the canon that we have today. They also deal with some current debates in regards to that field of study. But this will be an excellent tool in your resource. So again, you have to learn about how the text is put together, because there's always going to be people that argue against the authenticity of the text. So you have to have sources in regards to that. You have to know Israelite culture by means of getting sources that harmonize the material and non-material cultures, or the literature and the archaeology, which is extremely important. And you have to learn the languages, the biblical languages, in order for you to do the proper exegesis of the text, and also learn history so you can get the context as well, right? So if you go to this Patreon page, there's like almost 70 books that I have loaded on here with like maybe 10 to 12 articles, I believe, or something like that. And then now I'm adding websites. Everything you need is on the Patreon. Everything you need is on the Patreon. All right. This other good book right here is called Bedouin Culture in the Bible. So this was written by some Israeli individual. The individual's name is in there. It escapes me. That's why I said Israeli individual. But this person lived amongst the Bedouins who preserved some of the biblical cultures that we see of the nomadic Israelites, right, in pre-exilic times before they became stationary in the Iron Age period. Okay, this is extremely insightful, because a lot of things that you read in the text you don't understand unless you can examine a living culture that is still keeping or preserving those customs today. And this is an excellent book to give you some firsthand insight on how the Bedouin culture operates. All right, because the Israelites were considered Bedouins. Even the Shashu of Yod Hey Wav, those were Bedouins. You know what I'm saying? That's what they would be called today. You know what I'm saying? On the outskirts of Egyptian society, or on the outskirts of society, these Shashu people lived, and they, you know, how they survived. So looking at this will give you some insight, like, for example, how the Israelites was living in northwest Arabia, or they're on the Arabian Peninsula. You can see how they were living in those quote unquote 40 years in Bamidbar in the wilderness. All right. This is extremely, you know, important source. And again, this gets you right back into the culture. All right. Also, I threw up the books, The Literature of Ancient Sumer and the Sumerian World, because again, the King David Lucid Fire came in here and was saying all of this stuff, what she was talking. But again, he can sign up for the Patreon, get access to these books, or he can go buy them himself. What I'm doing is I'm allowing you guys to actually view this material without actually having to spend hundreds and thousands of dollars, right? If you was to count up all the books in here that you get access to, these become thousands of dollars, okay? But anyway, this gives you insight into the literature and the Sumerian world. Again, the material and non-material culture of the people. So when people just throw random stuff out there, you can check them. You can fact check them. All right. I'm giving you all the sources so that you can do that. All right. Also, two other books that I mentioned, The Great Stain, all right, that deals with slavery in the South, in the Low Country in the South, and also The Cross and the Lynching Tree, that deals with Christianity and slaves in the diaspora. All right. These are also two great books, man. You guys need to get these books. You can use both of these books if you need to speak to individuals in Christianity. You know, you want to get The Great Stain, because it gives you firsthand accounts of slavery, the interactions in slavery, interactions in regards to Christianity and stuff like that. And then The Cross and the Lynching Tree was also a good play on that. But this also, you can get it, read it, and share it with your Christian counterparts. All right. So, I mean, you can't ask for more than that, man. Shout out to my brother, Minister Maccabi, for the donation. I truly appreciate that. Thank you so much, my brother, as well as Roland Walker for the donation. I appreciate that. All right. So like I said, family, you know, what we're here to do is give you all the tools that you need in this walk. You know what I'm saying? Like when I do these shows, I give you the stuff to fact check me. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy because you don't have a lot of people in the community that's saying, okay, look, if you want to know if I'm telling you the truth, here's all the stuff that I got. It's like I said, for my opponents, I give y'all everything. Like, yo, here's the stuff that I rock with. You know what I'm saying? Like, use that to tighten up your game before you come on here and start talking crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. So if you guys want to follow along with the stuff that's being discussed on here, all the sources on the Patreon, okay? And if you see anything that you enjoy in here and for some reason you cannot join the Patreon, I understand. You can email me and I can get it to you. But the repository is there on the Patreon, all right? Even if you donate $1 or $5, which is a custom pledge that's underneath the tiered pledges, you still get access to the Patreon, all right? So I just want to, you know, make sure I give you guys everything that you guys need, because again, like I said, you know, this is what it is, man. This is what it is. This is what it is. This is what it is. All right. So, and if you guys have any questions in regards to sources and stuff like that, let me know. If I got it in my library, I'll pop it up on there for you. I have to add some more articles tonight on the Patreon, so I'll be adding some more. But I just added tons of stuff, and I'm gonna keep just overloading you guys with tons more stuff. All right. All right. Shout out to K Israel in the building. Lucky Lou, what's going on? What's going on? All right. So he just got off for work. All right. That's what's up. All right. My brother Minister Maccabi. Let me see who else is in here. Did I catch everybody? Andrew, what's going on? Andrew, the Biblical Rebel Room. My brother Pac Rosino, what's going on? What's going on? All right. Indie Game, shalom to you as well. All right. Aisha Huda for life. I think that's his. Shalom to you as well. Let me see. I think that's everybody. All right. If I see somebody new, I'm going to call you out. All right. So the world can know who invested in this ministry. All right. Remarkable Ministry says the Patreon is lit. It is. It is. It definitely is. Shout out to my brother Yehoseph Ben Israel. What's going on? What's going on? All right. Okay. Shout out to EP. What's going on, EP? All right. So make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you share. If you're brand new, hit subscribe, hit that bell notification, hit all. All right. And if you want to support what we're doing here, everything's in the description below. Shout out to Angie123. Praise Yah. What's going on? What's going on? All right. All right. So we got that out the way. So I showed you guys several sources. Okay. Now also we have the ESV Interlinear on there as well. We also have the Biblical Hebrew academic course on there for those who pledge $20 or more. And then we're going to be giving some more tiered benefits as well on Patreon, just to make it worth your while. The more you invest, the more you'll get access to. All right. Again, also, like I said, this fall, I'm working on a new series. The Death to Dogma series is one of the things I'm working on for this fall, as well as the Back to Basics series. We also going to go through the statute, laws, and commandments as well. It's called Practical Torah. Just showing you guys the practical application of Torah in contemporary times. So we're going to go into that too, to help you guys in regards to the statute, laws, and commandments, to see what's applicable today, what's not, and that which is not, how to extract the principle and still apply it in some way today. All right, because that's your cultural heritage. We're going to make sure we maintain that, so that way we can be in right alignment with the patron deity of the forefathers. All right. Okay. So I'm going to open it up. If you guys have any questions, let me know. All right. If not, I'll start freestyling shortly. But if you have any questions, if I can answer it right now, if it's not too deep, because some of y'all get deeper than me. You know what I'm saying? I'll go ahead and address that. But again, yeah, we still got merchandise as well. If you guys are interested in the Death to Dogma t-shirts, we have these. And we have tons of other merchandise as well if y'all are interested. And those of you who have already patronized us, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And there's still some, maybe 2 or 3 more orders is waiting to go out that we still are processing. And again, the calendar is still available. The physical one, we should have it completed by the end of the month. So it can go out by September, so you guys can have it before the fall feast physically. And then next year, you guys will be able to get it at the beginning of the year before all the feasts. All right. Okay. So anybody, any questions, any concerns, let me know. Aisha Huda for life says, I want that cast and lot set. I'll do another cast and lots giveaway. All right. Because I did one for the Patreon. So I'll do another cast and lots giveaway. Okay. I'll do another cast and lots giveaway. All right. So yes, 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 yes. All right. So Sister EP says, I'm sorry, I'm sure you've answered this before, but how much is Patreon a month? So we have various tiers in the Patreon. The tier starts at $10. We have a 10, 20, 50, 60, and $100 tier. Each one of them have their own distinct benefits. And then going forward, each one of them will have their own access to certain stuff that's posted on the Patreon soon. The only ones that have distinct access are $20 or more for the Biblical Hebrew Academic course. But that's the preferred and recommended pledges, 10, 20, 50, 60, and 100. But you can give anything you want. You know what I'm saying? So you can give $1, you can give $5, you can give $1,000, right? It's up to you. Whatever you're led to give that you want to pledge for all the hard work, effort, time, and energy we put into providing these resources and sharing information with the community, and also the work we do in the community. You're welcome to give whatever you're led to give, right? This is not a church, right? We're not taking tithes from nobody. You know what I'm saying? We're not taking offerings. We're not taking building funds and stuff like that. It's whatever you're led to give. If you want to do it through Super Chat, or if you want to do it through the Patreon, you can. Yes, it is monthly. I believe you can pay for the entire year. I believe you can. But just let me know whatever you want to do. You can email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. I mean, I think monthly will probably be better, but if you want to give a year, sis, it's up to you, right? It's totally up to you, sis. I greatly appreciate that. You know, I know it's a big sacrifice given the COVID-19 situation, the economic depression that we're in right now. So everybody that's pledging to keep this ministry afloat, I truly appreciate all of you guys. That's why I'm working hard to give you guys all these resources and also these live streams and these uploads with all the information that you guys need in regards to this walk. And then again, everything that you pledge is going towards the film production resources that we need to do these series, right? The Depth of Dogma series, the Back to Basics series, Practical Torah Application and Contemporary Time series, and a couple other series that I have in mind that I want to do. We also have the reality show that's coming up. So that requires funding in order for that to take place as well. And then we have the KHMMG, which is Kingdom Harbinger Ministries music group. And we're going to also try to launch this fall as well. If everything goes well, we're going to go ahead and get our artists on board, get some studio albums out there, concerts for you guys and stuff like that. So there's a lot of ambitious stuff that we want to do and we want to accomplish, so that way we can show a more polished version of the community, right? Because, you know, one thing that's troubled me recently is a lot of people who are attacking the community is number one, but the people who leave the community because they're not flat-footed. And the reason why they're not flat-footed is because, you know, a lot of the leaders are avoiding dealing with questions because it will pretty much, you know, untangle their dogma, you know what I'm saying? And or there's no concrete resources to authenticate the things that we say. You know what I'm saying? So I think this ministry, in regards to showing that we're willing to be diplomatic and tactful, and we're willing to put on the best PR face that we can for our community, to other communities, to engage us, right? So that way we can, you know, galvanize their resources that they're willing to invest in what we're doing and actually become autonomous, so we can be self-sufficient and self-governing. You know, all of you guys who are, you know, investing in the ministry, I mean, this is the return that I want to give back to you guys, right? And I also want to help to reclaim those who have strayed away simply because they just didn't have answers to questions, right? Or they just didn't have resources when they were talking to other people, and then they got, you know, somebody got in the ear in a conscious community or the Christian community or whatever, and just led them away. You know what I'm saying? So it's unfortunate the things that, you know, are going on, you know, but these things can be addressed. You know, also the mistreatment of some women in our community as well is another big issue that needs to be addressed. You know, I just recently did a lecture trying to show our, you know, the men in the community, you know, to better appreciate the women, you know what I'm saying? And that way, once there's a great appreciation of the opposite genders, they will each gender will naturally fall into their roles. You know what I'm saying? So that's important. You know what I'm saying? These are things that have to be addressed in the community, you know, and like I said, the information that's put out is a two-edged sword. You know what I'm saying? It cuts me, you know, at the same time I'm using it to cut others. And the reason why we're cutting others is so that way they can heal properly. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, if you have a wound, you got to cut it. If you have an abscess, what you got to do, you got to cut it and you got to drain it. right? In order for it to heal. So sometimes when this stuff goes out, it's because a lot of us have abscesses in regards to the dogma and other issues, you know, personal issues or whatever that we have. And what we're trying to do is cut that abscess so we can drain it and so that it can heal properly. All right. My brother Danny Shamgar is in the building. So I'm a part of Patreon, but I haven't received anything new. So Danny, what's the latest thing you've seen? Because there's another thing. Let me bring it up. I have to bring it up too, since he already said that. This is important. Okay, this is extremely important, and I want to bring it up so I can address it, because this is an issue that's been going on with Patreon. It's called declined payments. I was trying to get to the bottom of it, because this happens like every month. And that's because people either change cards, or the card that they have has expired, or something along those lines. And when those things happen, you don't get access to the latest things that are posted on the Patreon, right? So what I want to do is I want to show you guys that particular Patreon post, so you guys can understand what's going on. I'm gonna drop that link in the chat, but it's also on the Patreon as well. And it's a public post. So and the reason why I made it public is because people are still following, but they're not able to get access. And that's because they've had car issues. You could also use PayPal for Patreon as well. So it doesn't have to be linked to a particular card. It can be linked to your PayPal account, right? But I'm gonna drop that link here in the chat. All right. So anybody that's having issues in regards to not being able to get access to new posts or anything like that, please click the link in the chat and go through the instructions to make sure that your payment is on point and there's no issues. Or after you've gone through it, if you're still having issues, email me at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com and I'll walk you through it. What I've also realized is that I also encourage people to get the mobile app, the Patreon mobile app, so that way you can get access to stuff on the go. But a lot of times you have to log onto your computer if you're having issues like this, right? If you're having access issues, if you're having the payment issues with this decline payment issue, error, whatever that's going on, it's best to log into your computer and address it there, okay? But that's the link for those of you who may be having issues. So my brother Danny, click on that link, go through that, and I'll see if that can get you back up to snuff. If not, email me at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. and we will provide you with grade A customer service support. Okay. All right. So Sky Village Faction says, why do you think it's so hard for people who profess faith in Yah to accept the truth they ascribe to and present it with the truth? Because of the presuppositional dogma. I mean, there's no other way to kind of like deduce it, you know, any further than that. You know what I'm saying? It's just that, you know, when you get into Christianity, a lot of the worldview of African Americans in America is from a Judeo-Christian worldview. You get indoctrinated with that. And then as you start to do further research, you start to uncover more things. And as you're uncovering more things, guess what? You start to come across other information and say, wow, I didn't know about this. And then some of y'all has been led to Israelite information based on videos, research, or whatever. And then once they get into it, a lot of times you still have the remnant of the Judeo-Christian, you know, essence that's still in you, you know what I'm saying? Or the residue that's still on you, you know what I'm saying? And those are things you just don't want to let go, you know, and then it's a scary thing to let go of these things. And then I'm here to show you guys that there's liberty if you let go. If you let go of the dogma, there's a lot of liberty, right? And a lot of the fullness of that liberty is understanding the practical nature of Torah. Yes, it was initially instituted for theocracy, but it became a culture. It's a codified, I would say, listing of various customs that have been fine-tuned, has been selected, isolated, fine-tuned, and codified. So that way it could be useful for building a nation, right? And even in our diaspora, we can still use it to become autonomous within captivity, within a nation. Okay, no matter where you're at on the globe, you can practically apply Torah, right? But you cannot do it in its liberty if you have hatred, anger, bitterness, if you're misogynistic, women, if you're andronistic, if you have hatred towards men, if you have hatred towards women, you know what I'm saying? Those are big issues, right? If you have this mindset that you want to be religious with this, it can hurt, you know what I'm saying? If you want to hold on to Judeo-Christian, principles and values and stuff like that, I'm not saying everything in Judeo-Christian is wrong or false. I'm not saying. What I'm saying is you have to have a different vantage point. That's the only way you can achieve cultural autonomy, is if your vantage point is different and what you do looks different and is set apart from Jews and Christians. It has to look different. It cannot look the same, because if it looks the same, then you're no longer at the top or at the level of ownership of your culture. And when that happens, I mean, somebody else is pulling the strings. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I use the objectivity and research methodology to strip away those things and just get to the root of what this culture is about. And once you learn that, it's extremely difficult for anybody to knock you off your square. All right. So hopefully that begins to answer that question, Sky Village Faction. Great question. Thank you for asking. Hopefully that begins to answer it. All right. All right. So family, again, hit that thumbs up button. Hit that thumbs up. Please share this video. Hit subscribe if you're brand new. And if you want to support, everything is in the description below. All right. All right. So K. Israel says, have you had debates or dialogues with people who subscribe to science and not believe in God? They usually say dates and proof don't show when it comes to God belief. Yes, I have had discussions with people who are agnostic and people who are atheists. And a lot of times they make appeal to scientific claims and use those scientific claims and the scientific method to disprove what it is we subscribe to, which is unfortunate, because you understand these are two different fields of learning, right? So you have your fields of arts and humanities, you have your social sciences, right? They're two different things. You can apply the scientific method to arts and humanity. You just can't. It doesn't work that way all the time. Now when it comes to things such as anthropology, archaeology, you can apply the scientific method to that. But if something outside of that, from the non-material culture, it's difficult to apply the scientific method. So certain things you just cannot be expressed if you're just purely scientific, right? And even the root of science is gnosis, which means knowledge, the acquiring knowledge and how to scrutinize knowledge. So that way you're able to prove what you know. That's called epistemology, right? So yes, I've had discussions in regards to that. I've also given people sources. So like I said, I give you guys a reference, which is Hugh Ross. Hugh Ross, he holds the same position that I hold in regards to the scientific element of, the scriptures, as well as a website called God and Science. Those two sources right there hold about 75% of what I subscribe to in regards to the scientific element of the scriptures. Now, remember, the scriptures were not written to be a scientific treatise. So what we have to do is build models from the culture in order to explain things in our immediate environment as it pertains to social sciences, environmental sciences, etc. Okay. So hopefully that explains. So does autonomy include our own municipalities and our own state? Yes, if we can accomplish that, yes. You know what I'm saying? It's extremely difficult to do that. We would have to have a high concentration of professed Israelites in one area in order for us to establish a municipality. I would love to have that set up one day soon. We'll see, somewhere in the US and abroad. That would be great. But even if not, then we need Israelites in diplomatic positions and positions of either in a judicial system, executive position, or legislative position in order to positively influence things in that community. So that way it could be a safe haven for anybody who identifies as an Israelite to live in that neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? But yes, that is, part of the end game if we can achieve it. All right. All right. Mike Prayon said, love your fellow Hebrew brother and sister as yourself. Be decent to each other. I wholeheartedly agree. All right. Shalom to my sister Consuelo F in the building. What's going on? What's going on? Shalom to Janelle that just joined us. Mike, for real, what's going on? He says the mistreatment is not Torah. We are getting back to our culture that was love for our people. Facts. I totally agree. All right. Shout out to Isis Swan Tice in the building. What's going on? All right. Stay woke. Stay woke is there. Saying signing up for Patreon now. Going through El Leon, El Shaddai presentation. Good stuff, fellow IT guy. Salute, my brother. Salute. All right. Thank you so much for your support, man. It's good to see more of our IT people in the building. All right. So, hey, a lot of times I tell people that, the purpose of this ministry organization is to attract people in two ways. Number one, the people that really want to put their hand to the plow and do work in the community, you know what I'm saying? We will equip and empower you to do that. The people that actually want to take it to the next level and, you know, in regards to physically getting work done in the community, and those who want more out of the culture, right, than just, you know, the basic stuff that you get from other sources. You know what I'm saying? We're here to appeal to that. So sometimes it may take a degree of reasoning, it may take a degree of intellect, it may take a degree of understanding, right? In order for you to get to that degree of spirituality, which is to manifest the abstract ideas and concepts that's expressed in the text and manifest it, you know, transition it into a real life scenario where it's actually affecting change, you know what I'm saying, in your community, in your life, in your household, you know what I'm saying? Those are the two different people we're looking to appeal to, right? This, a lot of times I realize, you know, that a lot of people who come in here are new. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I have to do like a back to basics. So I have to do these Q&A so I can answer things for people who are brand new. But a lot of times I want this to appeal to people who wants to take this Israelite thing to the next level. You know what I'm saying? This is what this is here for. All right. Shout out to my brother Judah Supreme in the building. Shalom. What's going on? All right. I said Swan T said, Shalom, Mark. I've been with you for 5 years from afar. Thank you so much, sis. 5 years. That's one of the day ones right there. I appreciate that. Appreciate that, sis. Still I Rise says, how can I join your ministry, bro? Email us at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. Let us know what city and state that you're in. Also, let us know what qualifications you have, what skills that you have, you know, or whatever you think would be good to contributing to the community that we have. We would truly appreciate that, man. So yeah, definitely hit us up, join us. So Cheese Kororo Ojen says, what do you have to say about the compulsory vaccination? Well, the vaccination, as you know, is being pushed because of the coronavirus, or the novel coronavirus pandemic that's out there right now. Unfortunately, you know, in the eyes of allopathic medicine and the media, the, you know, final solution is a vaccination, which is interesting because a lot of people now not even being vaccinated. And who are surviving it. And there's some people who are dying from it. You know what I'm saying? So all of these things are important. You know, in my position, you know, I don't see the vaccination as being necessary for people who understand good health practices or best practices when it comes to nutrition, supplementation, and exercise. And the reason being because a lot of those people are being exposed and they're surviving it. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times you see on TV say, oh, this person is, you know, early 20s or early 30s and they're healthy and they died from it. You know what I'm saying? Well, we don't know all the details behind what transpired. A lot of times people die from things, and if they've had COVID, they still say it's a COVID death, even though COVID did not cause their demise. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, my thing is the vaccinations are for people who don't take care of themselves. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and get vaccinated because you have to jumpstart your immune system so you can survive this virus and other viruses. But I would say for those of you who are extremely healthy, I'm not telling you don't get vaccinations. I'm not saying that. I'm saying pick and choose. If you do get them, if you decide to avoid them, that's great. You know, you just got to make sure that you understand that you're taking your own safety precautions in your own hands and taking ownership of your health and the health of your family, right? For those of you who don't get it at all, and those of you who do choose which ones to get, right? As opposed to getting everything. Again, the objective is pro-choice. Being able to equip people all the knowledge they need so they can make the right decisions. Okay. So like I said, me personally, I'm not getting it, right? I don't choose to get it. If it's mandatory and they force it to get it, I mean, what can you do? But if we can avoid it, you know what I'm saying? That's what I will do because there's no need for me to get it. You know what I'm saying? You know, now anybody else, I'm not advocating for anybody else to do that. I'm not saying I'm a professional healthcare, you know, practitioner, whatever the case may be. So I can't tell you what to do, and I won't tell you what to do. All I simply will do is equip you with information so you can make the best decision possible. All right. All right. So I believe that fear was put in by religion to not question the scriptures, but my understanding of scriptures came by question everything. Facts. I agree. All right. Shout out to my brother Hassad Sakai in the building. He says, Shalom, big bro. I need you to play devil's advocate. And please tell me what you think a Christian's response would be to Christ telling us to pray our flight is not on the Sabbath. Matthew 24:20. All right. He said, contextually, this is dealing with 70 AD, which is after his death, obviously. That's true. All right. So let me bring it up. That's Matthew 24:20. All right. So Matthew 24:20. All right. Where it says, pray that your flight may not be in winter on a Sabbath. So the reason why it's saying this is because I tell people all the time, the Sabbath was not done away with, and the Sabbath will continue on, right? Even after Yeshua has passed and he's long gone, the Sabbath is still going on because these events that he's speaking about did not happen when he died. Okay, so these events still have to be culminated at some point in the future. Therefore, the Sabbath will still be active. Okay, that was not done away with. All right. So when it says pray that your flight may not be in winter or on the Sabbath. So the Israelite way to, I guess, answer this or explain it would be, you got to understand in Israel, ancient Israel, or even during first century Palestine, first century CE Palestine, during the winter months, which would typically be late October, November, going into almost early March, you had a wintry, rainy season. Okay. And there would be torrential rains at times, and it would be difficult to travel during this period of time. So a lot of times people will hunker down where they're at during these period of times, or they may travel before these wintry rains hit into places where rains are not really that, ravaging, right? So the winter was a difficult time to travel, right? Especially if you're about to be persecuted and something's about to happen to you. And if you have babies or children, it's difficult to travel during the winter because it's hard to live off the land, right? As you're on the go. And on the Sabbath, because on the Sabbath, it was, agreed, during the Ezra Nehemiah time that the gates would be closed to the city and you would have to stay put. So if you're being persecuted and you're adhering to the letter of that implementation of the Sabbath, then you're going to be stuck where you're at. You know what I'm saying? So he's saying, pray that your flight, because when this happens, you have to move. Be not in the winter time because of the torrential rains and how it makes it a hardship in regards to commuting, and trying to live on the go. And on the Sabbath, where again, due to the additional regulations by Ezra and Nehemiah to lock down the cities and the gates of the cities and stay stationary, it's difficult for you to leave if somebody was coming to persecute you because you're not packed up and ready to go on the Sabbath. You're actually relaxing and resting. You know what I'm saying? So this is what he's saying there. Now, how would a Christian address this, right? Now, that's very interesting. I've brought this up to Christians to prove that the Sabbath is not going nowhere. But I've had Christians say a couple of things, right? And again, when I get Matt on here, I'm going to bring this up to him too to see what he says, right? And I also ask future Christian apologists as well when they come on here what their take is on that, so that way I won't misrepresent what their position is. But I heard some people say, to me in regards to this, is saying, well, this has to do with the Jews. This has nothing to do with Christians. That's what they say. So the Gentiles, who's really the Christians, because they teach these supersessionism and they teach this replacement theology and they teach all these other things, right? They say, well, this is just for the Jews because, the Jews are going to be persecuted. Now you have different types of Christians, right? You have Christians who believe in the rapture. Those are dispensationalists, right? You have Christians that are amillennialists. They don't believe in the rapture. They believe that Christ is ruling right now. You know what I'm saying? And that the church is the limiting factor of evil in the earth, and that eventually the church is going to overcome the world, right? And then you have some people that believe that, tribulation is going to occur. Christians are also going to go through it, but then afterwards going to be given a crown, right? So you have different types of Christians. You can't lump all Christians eschatological beliefs in one pot, right? You have to single them out depending on who you're talking to. But most Christians will tell me this is just to the Jews who were being disobedient, who didn't receive Christ, that they have to pray that their flight is not in winter or the Sabbath because they will be persecuted, right? And dispensations believe that the church will be raptured and that this is just going to happen to the Jews. And Gentile Christians believe that this is just referring to Jews who are going to be in Jerusalem locally, right? Not to the Gentiles, at large. Okay. So hopefully, my brother Hassan, that begins to answer that for you. Okay. So I just want to give you some feedback on that. Hopefully that helps to equip you. If you have any other questions, my brother, I'm here to help. All right. Sakari's my people's man. All right. All right. Let me see. All right. There's the email address on the screen. If you guys are interested in joining the movement, thank you so much, Millie, for posting that. All right. K Israel says, yo, truly appreciate you, fam. You're a great necessity. Thank you so much, my brother. I humbly appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? I try to do my best to get us in alignment with the things that we need approaching these end times. All right. Shout out to my brother Christian Mayfield in the building. What's going on? All right. Jack Max always asking me the deep questions. Would you say that the pre-exilic Sabbath was counted from the full moon like the other feasts? And when do you feel it became fixed to Saturday, if that's the case? That's an excellent question. So what I want you to do, Jack Max, is post a scripture. So let's use that as a springboard into the discussion. Post a scripture where you would say that the pre-exilic Sabbath was counted from the full moon. Do you have a scriptural reference from that you want to address? Let me know. Put it out here so we can exegete that properly and go forth. Otherwise, I'll just wait until you do that, and I'll just take any additional questions, anything else like that. All right. All right. So let's see what else we got going on here. So Israel, witness and servant, shalom to you, says, shalom, everyone. Isn't the Sabbath still going to be kept during the great tribulation that is yet to come? The Sabbath is going to be held all throughout. The Sabbath is not going anywhere. It's a perpetual covenant. It's not going nowhere. Because even when the end times come about, guess what's going to be here? The Sabbath. Sabbath ain't going nowhere. So let's bring that out. Bring that out. Let me bring that out. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Let's bring it out. All right. All right, let's get here on the screen for y'all. All right, Yeshayahu, Isaiah 66:22 says, for as the new heavens and new earth that I make shall remain before me, says Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh, so shall your offspring and your name remain. From new moon to new moon and from Sabbath to Sabbath, all flesh shall come to worship before me, declares Yod-Heh-Wav-Heh. This is going forward during this millennial period. Sabbath is not going nowhere. The new moon that you use to reckon time is not going nowhere. This is not going nowhere. The law is going back out. We read the book of Micah. We see that the law is going back out. We see in the book of Isaiah, the Zechariah and the Yeshayahu, you're going to see the priesthood restored, the priests, the Levites. This stuff is not going nowhere. Right now, the Levitical order has been suspended because they can no longer function in the land with the temple, etc. However, the Melchizedek order is here to substitute, right? It's the old order that's being restored or renewed, and that is going to take place, right? The Melchizedek order is going to take place until the Levitical order can be restored, okay? That is the contingency plan that Yah put in place. And this contingency plan incorporates parts of Torah in it, but parts of Torah that can be applied in the diaspora. Because now no longer are you centralized in Jerusalem with the temple that's no longer here. Now it's the sanctuary in Shemayim that Yeshua is in, right? And now from there, you can access the temple. Okay, globally. All right, that's the transition period in regards to that. Okay. All right. So LLKIFY found a source which documents the practice 8-day circumcision in Nigeria amongst the Hausa when a boy is circumcised, usually around the age of 8. So circumcision is common in Nigeria. It is done on the 8th day amongst the Igbo and as well some Hausa as well, and some Yoruba do it as well. I have an actual entry from a medical journal that goes into detail in regards to circumcision in Nigeria. And when it comes up in regards to the 8th day, it's always reference to a religious rite. Okay. And again, the question is, what is the myth behind that? That is the key thing. What is the myth behind that? Okay. What is the myth behind that? All right. All right. Peace Be Still says, should we all do away with that so-called Star of David as a symbol for our community? That's up to you guys. You know what I'm saying? I personally don't utilize the Star of David for my own personal reasons. You know, I'll probably do a teaching on why I don't subscribe to it. Do I think it's something evil, wicked, or whatever? I don't think so. I just don't see it in antiquity being used in the material culture of Iron Age Israelites. It's not there. You know what I'm saying? You see some amongst Canaanite cultures, but amongst Israelite, pre-exilic, Iron Age Israelite cultures and material, well, as far as archaeology, we don't see no Star of David. You know what I'm saying? We don't see it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't utilize it. You know what I'm saying? So I would say, you know, you could use things such as the menorah to supplement that with, or you can use like what I use, like, you know, the silver scrolls and an amulet that can be used to represent the community, or you can use, you know, a lion, I guess, if you want to use that as an animal to represent the community. I mean, there's tons of other symbols that you can use that allows us to stand out, right? To be set apart, right? For me, what I like is the red, black, and green flag with a gold menorah. That's what I like. You know what I'm saying? But then also, you know, I have a logo for this ministry as well. So I would say it just depends, man. I mean, you know, another reason why I don't use it is because of the association with the Jewish community as well. You know what I'm saying? So that's another reason why I refrain from using it. And I use, you know, other symbols. You know what I'm saying? So that's solely up to you guys. Yeah, some people think it's the Star of Ramphan. You know what I'm saying? Can that be proven 100%? No, it cannot be proven 100% because you'd have to actually show an image of what that star looks like. All right, there's various ways to, in the ancient Near East, to draw an image of a star, and it wasn't just a pentagram. You know what I'm saying? There's other ways that you can draw a star. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, you know what I'm saying, what specifically the Star of Ramphan was. There's some academic articles that I've read on it when looking in Mesopotamia and other Canaanite cultures, things that could possibly be it, but we don't know 100% for sure. So I can't say it's the Star of David. All right. So yes, that's correct as well. Shout out to my sister, the souls of our ancestors, aka Lynette, in the building. What's going on? Shout out to Donna Brown. Thank you for joining us. CBLH Griot, thank you for joining us as well. I appreciate that. Shalom to you, Aki. All right. So let me see this question from Israel by birth. Should I calculate my Shabbat the same way we calculate all other holy days, utilizing the new moon as the first of the month? What are your thoughts? Well, that would be a primitive way of doing it if you don't have access to anything else. So this is important when it comes to the Sabbath, right? And I know I'm supposed to do a lecture on this. I have not forgotten it. I started the presentation. I just never finished it, right? But I need to do it, right? But what I will say is this: what we have to do, and we have to do very careful investigation in regards to this, right? What we have to do is, in order for you to understand the application of ancient pre-exilic Israelite customs, is to look at the transitionary periods away from pre-exilic to the post-exilic. Okay, so I'll give you an example. So if the Sabbath was reckoned, let's say for example, the Sabbath was reckoned based on the moon phases, the lunar phases, right? For the moon. If that was how the Sabbath was originally reckoned, when the Israelites integrated into other societies based on their captivities, how did they apply that to those calendrical systems, right? That right there is an important area of study in order for you to understand the antiquated way of Sabbath and how it's applied now against civil calendars that a lot of empires had. You know what I mean? That the Israelites were subjected to. There's tons of book references on that. Matter of fact, if you go to the Patreon, I have several books up dealing with the calendar. And I got another one to post up too that also goes into the Sabbath. All right. And it compares the Sabbath in Babylon, the Sabbath also done in Israel. And it shows you the similarities and some of the differences. You also got to understand that as well. You know what I'm saying? So you got to see if there's an influence from other cultures or not. But yes, I will be working on that soon. I'll be working on that soon for you guys. I know you guys ask me that all the time. All right. Shout out to Sister Lynette. Thank you so much for the donation, sis. I truly appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. All right. And also congrats to you as well, Sister Lynette. I added you as an admin, aka mod. All right. Okay, let's see. So Foolish World 75 says, Shalom, can you give a few precepts from Christ being born of a man and not made from angels having sex? from an angel. Oh, you're talking about an angel having sex with Mary. I think that's what you're saying. So yes, I have in regards to the virgin birth, right? I've done several videos on it, and they're up. I mentioned before that if you look at the early, what they call, academic calls Jewish Christians, they all subscribe to the notion that Yeshua was born of a union between Joseph and Miriam. The Nazarenes changed their tune after the Nicene Council, going into the late 4th, 5th century. By the time we get the Peshitta, it subscribes to the virgin birth by attributing the agency of the nativity of Yeshua to Miriam, as opposed to another earlier representation of that in the O Syriac Sinaiticus Palimpsest, which attributes the agency to Yosef. Okay, so also the misapplication of Yeshayahu chapter 7 verse 14, the Betula there is Betula there is referring to a chaste woman who is a virgin. But in the Greek, it's Parthenos, which refers to a virgin, right? That lines up, right? But then you have Alma, which refers to a young maiden. So in the Greek, if you go to the Septuagint, and again, I showed you a source, the book on the Patreon. Here, let me give you, any of Emmanuel Tov's work in textual criticism that he deals on the Septuagint. He even addresses Isaiah 7:14 as well, and he explains that has to be an insertion from a person who only had access to the Septuagint, because they're not using, because see, another thing you can do if you are doing a translation, and this happens all the time, right? I always give the example of a Chihuahua. How do you translate Chihuahua in English? You don't. It's been preserved from the original language into English. You can either preserve the original word and or transliterate the word and give it a pronunciation or the phonology equivalent to the translated language. So let's say, for example, Parthenos is the best word that lines up with a virgin or Betula, and Alma can be a woman that's no longer a virgin, right? But it's not specific. Then what you can do is transliterate Alma into the Greek, or just take the whole word and shift it over without, using another word to define it. Whoever was doing this translation had access to the Septuagint, and they preserved the word Parthenos instead of transliterating the word that should be there for virgin, which is your Alma, And this caused a lot of confusion, right? And if you go to see the agency in the O Syriac Sinaiticus Palimpsest had been attributed to Yosef for begetting Yeshua as opposed to Miriam, that right there changes the rest of the narrative if you accept it. The Jewish Christians, again, all of them subscribe to the union of Miriam Yosef and producing, Yeshua bar Yosef. All of them, saw him as a Messiah figure and received them as such. And all of them kept the Torah. So you have to understand those positions, look at the early references to these groups, right? And then also look at any nuances and other what they call translations, which this is why I always appeal to the O Syriac Sinaiticus Palimpsest, that preserves that Hebrew or the Aramaic version of Mattiyahu that would have been faithful to what the Ebionites or the Nazarenes in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd century would have subscribed to. All right. Also, if you go to Shaul's work, Shaul, his epistles is believed the earliest portions of the Brit Hadashah, the New Testament. He never mentions anything about a virgin birth at all. If that was something central or central focus of the gospel or Christology, he would have mentioned it. He's never mentioned the virgin birth. All right. He did not mention, which goes to tell me and some other scholars that was a later interpolation. All right. And again, if you go to Jerome's account, where Jerome says that he's seen the Hebrew version or the Aramaic version, of, it was Syrian speech, he says, written with Hebrew characters, right? The book of Matthew that he saw that these Jewish Christians had, that he can read. He said, this is the copy that Origen had, okay? Because Origen also can read Hebrew, okay? And then he said he made his own translation from that Hebrew into Latin and into Greek. But he says the Greek version that's in circulation, we don't know who authored that. He says we don't know. This is what Jerome says. You know what I'm saying? So this is extremely important to understand. And again, that is something that is a dogma. The virgin birth has been incorporated into the dogma of the church. And if you reject that, what some people think is that you're taking away the deity of Yeshua. No, Yeshua was adopted, right? The sonship process happened when he was adopted by the Father by way of the witness of the Ruach and Yachanan, who immersed him, who had a mikvah in the river. Okay, so this is all important, is that's when he was adopted into the sonship of the divine council, and he was given the position that he was given, that he can now exercise on the earth. So now the Ruach can then join with this flesh posthumous after his death, and now he can be the bailiff in the heavenly court. That's deep. So the deity part, again, is not removed if you take away the virgin birth, because he was adopted into the sonship process. He's not the only one. We saw the taking up of Eliyahu, and we see the taking up of Enoch. They both characters were taken up as well, right? And they also, from my position, was adopted into the sonship as well as elders in the heaven in Shamayim, according to the legends of the ancient Israelites. This is what they believed. You know what I'm saying? So each one of them have a particular role. You know what I'm saying? So it hurts people who have the Judeo-Christian worldview of the virgin birth. But then when you unravel it and you look at other perspectives that existed before Orthodoxy was established, you see that everybody didn't agree that there was a virgin birth. These were two different traditions. You know what I'm saying? And again, if it was something that was crucial and centralized, Paul tells you the things that he said that he first received. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, he's given it to you. He never mentioned the virgin birth. Galatians 4:4, he said he was made under the law, made of a woman. He never says nothing about a virgin birth. Why would Paul not mention this if this was a central part of the gospel? It's irrelevant to the gospel. It's not important, but you need it, because what it does is that it takes you from the sonship through the adoption at the immersion, and it pushes it back to the birth, which then pushes it back to pre-existence. And then you can use that to justify the second person of the Godhead or of the Trinity, called Jesus Christ, a pre-existent Jesus Christ. That's different. And like I said, if you go back and you examine that lecture series, right? El Elyon, Yod He Wafe, El Shaddai, where I kind of break that down in the fourth part, you can see that you can create a more accurate Hebraic perspective of Yeshua without the dogma of Christianity. If you read the text from front to back, not back to front, you eliminate that dogma. You get rid of it. The only time he would say he was called the Son, we got our reference from Luke. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. All right, my bad. I'm back. So what I was saying is, in regards to the sonship process, the only time that he was called the Son was in Matthew chapter 4. If you go to Luke chapter 1, where it says that he shall be called, he wasn't called the Son at that point. That time he was being called the Son, or when that process happened, was during the immersion. Simple. At that point, he was given the Ruach. The Ruach is what led him to resist Hashatan, or the adversary, during his 40 days of fasting. And then after that, he was then positioned to come on the scene and begin his mission. You know what I'm saying? It's that simple. You know what I'm saying? But again, to other people, that may be a little bit difficult for them to fathom, so they tend not to. All right. Shout out to my brother Jordan's Cadet for the donation. I appreciate that. He said he's not getting the notifications. I don't know what's going on with YouTube, but try to unsubscribe, resubscribe, and hit the bell again. And hopefully that will jumpstart you back into the notifications for YouTube. All right. All right. Even scholars know that the virgin birth was created to make Jesus a deity to popularize European Christianity. Okay. So Donna Brown said, is the Messiah's name spelled Yeshua ben Yosef? No, it would be Yeshua, because Yeshua is Aramaic. It would be Yeshua bar. Bar means son or son of. It's the possessive son of in Aramaic, Yosef, right? So it'd be Yeshua bar Yosef, right? Because during that period of time, 1st century CE Palestine, they were speaking Aramaic. So it would be Yeshua bar Yosef. That's what I say, because that would be more historically accurate. Okay. All right. All right. So Get Wise says, Aki, I was wondering, can you help me understand if Yahshua and the messenger fuse, who was the comforter explained in John 14:26, is that someone else? So Christianity posits that the Holy Spirit is the third person of the Trinity, right? Ontologically, economically, that's the third person in the Trinity, right? Outside of existence, within existence, that's the third person in the Trinity. So they see the Comforter, Parakletos, or the Holy Spirit as a person, okay? That's part of the Godhead. As an Israelite, I don't see the Holy Spirit as a person, okay? The Holy Spirit is an extension of Yah. So the Spirit, the Ruach, all right? It could be various things. It could be the breath that's in your body. That can be a spirit. A spirit could also be your character, right? Or the spirit can be the endowment of supernatural force. Okay, it could be any of those three things. It could be, number one, it could be the breath of life that's in you. Number two, it could be your character, your personality. Somebody said, oh, you got the spirit of this person, you got the spirit of that person. Or three, it could be the endowment power, right? Or the empowering force or the essence of the supernatural that is using an individual to perform or to do something. Okay. And all three of those things is its semantic value usage in the text. Okay. So when it comes to Yeshua, Yeshua was saying that there's a comforter that's going to come. And if I don't go away, the comforter cannot come. What he's talking about is after his consummation and he's able to complete what he came to do. Now he is given control in regards to the Ruach, right, to designate it to those who are then being initiated into the order of Melchizedek so that they can perform in his absence. Okay, so that's what he's talking about. That Ruach, that's why it says that when you use his name, it activates the Ruach, and then you can pull from that Ruach in order for you to complete the mission that was cut short with him, where you're going out to seek the lost sheep of Israel, to wake them up, to get them to repent and prep them to receive the kingdom, right? Now he's able, you know, being within this council, right, representing the Most High, to designate a portion of that Ruach to all those who are being initiated in the order so that it can complete the role that he has sent them out to do. Okay. Now, can the spirit operate outside of that? Yes, it can. Right. But it's fine-tuned and specific to a particular mission that he's able to designate in his absence. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. All right. So again, when we say spirit, there's a wide semantic value usage of that term. You have to read the context to kind of get what it's talking about. And then you have the Brit Hadashah, which a lot of times they're using the Greek manuscripts to reference it. If you go back to the Syriac, you see there's some slight differences. But if you go back to the Hebrew, which you should use as your foundation, you'll see what the Ruach is to understand it from a Hebraic perspective. So now when you look at the Brit Hadashah, you see it with different eyes. Okay, so hopefully that begins to answer that question for you. Okay. All right. So Israel Witness and Servant, I must again compliment Brother Ron and this channel because they have never blocked my comments, nor have they ever tried to drown me out like the other channels, though there's disagreement. I appreciate that, my brother. There's people that disagree all the time in this channel, and I'm okay with disagreements. That's how you learn. You get sharper when you disagree, and you know how to build within a disagreement. Now, there's some people here that just challenge me outright, you know, and they're very, they have a lot of hubris behind doing it. They're very egotistical. They belittle me in the process. So those are the type of people that they get my wrath, right? They get my righteous indignation. They get my wrath. But then there's other people that disagree, not because they want to start anything, but simply because they hold a different point of view and they're able to explicate that. And I respect that. That's why I will allow that in the chat, and or they can come on a panel and have a discussion with me. And if you see panel discussions, everybody on the panel don't agree with me, and it's okay. I welcome that. And we have to have that type of environment, because that's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you know that the leader you're dealing with is willing to be transparent, and that they must be standing on something firm in order for them to allow themselves to be scrutinized by people who have opposite worldviews. So we cannot stifle that. You know what I'm saying? Because that is, to me, a Christian dogmatic mindset, to stifle the flame of anybody who is burning somewhere separate than where you are. You know what I'm saying? When Yeshua was talking, to the disciples, and they was concerned about other people, he said, listen, if they're not against us, then they for us. You know what I'm saying? If they're not openly against us, then they're for us. So yes, they may be doing something separate than us, but if they're not openly against us, then they are for us, right? So just leave them alone, let them do their thing. If you come into, if you not bump heads with them, but if you engage them or they engage you, you have a build, because they're on your side. So I see y'all on my side, whether we agree or disagree. That's how it works. You feel what I'm saying? So we have to have that mindset when we build with each other, so that way we can show a different face than what Christians do. And that's extremely important. All right. Just remember to get wise for the donation. I truly appreciate that. Thank you so much. So Sister Adaya Israel said, what are your thoughts on joining or starting the Israelite community, either off grid or not? Yes, that has always been my dream mission to accomplish for the past 5 years. I still look to do that and get that done. I think the safest place for that to be done is in an incorporated municipality that is also designated as a Black cityhood, that has legislation that is friendly towards those type of endeavors. You know what I'm saying? So out here, in Atlanta or in surrounding counties, I think would be a good idea to do that. When that is established, am I going to be putting all those details online? No, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? So you either got to hear through the grapevine or join KHM to understand it. And the reason why is because you don't want something sacred like that to be compromised, right? If you can help it, right? But yes, I do plan on doing that when I'm ready, when I have all the resources, manpower to get it done. You know what I'm saying? I will let the community know. And if you guys want to get involved, then, you can get in touch with certain lifelines, and then we can get you involved in the project. All right. But yes, I do want to do that, because I believe that that's important, and we need to have all those options. And I tell people all the time that want to repatriate, don't repatriate unless you can learn to live off the grid. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of the conveniences you have here in America, if you go to, Africa or the Middle East, you may not have those same conveniences. You may be forced to live off the land and whatever resources is made available to you. So it's good to spend a year here now to learn to live off the land with minimal conveniences before you uproot yourself, your family, your community, and you go somewhere else, right? This is why it made it so hard when Ben Amin was traveling, going to Liberia, and from Liberia to Africa to Israel, is because these people are people from Chicago, people from Illinois, and some other people from other states and cities and so forth, who've never lived off the grid before, who've never been untethered from society and the conveniences of society. So it was difficult when they got into the nitty gritty, the thick of it in Africa and over there in Dimona. So I say, look, before you repatriate, take some time, isolate yourself, live off the grid for some time. And once you get that under wraps, then you can go anywhere. But learn to do that first. All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Sister Millie. I appreciate that, sis. Yes, we learn from each other. That's what we're here to do. All right. Peace Be Still says, I don't believe we can really establish that in America. You don't believe that we can establish an autonomous community in America? Why is that? Tell me why you don't believe that we can do that. And here's the thing. Where else on the planet you think that we can do it at? With technology and these in countries that either on the left side or on the right side, they can track you anywhere. The only advantage you have is some kind of supernatural force to protect you, because if you don't have that, doesn't matter where you at, you could be tracked and traced anywhere on the globe. I'm in IT, okay, and I've dealt with contracts, military contracts, and people in the military who are in IT that I speak to, and I learn a lot of information on how that realm works. When I tell you they have so much mind-boggling technology, It is extremely difficult for you to hide anywhere on this planet from any country that has this technology. The only advantage you have is supernatural intervention. That's it. That's it. With supernatural intervention, it doesn't matter where you at, domestically or abroad, you will be protected, but you have to be untethered. See, what they do is that they lure you in with the conveniences of society to get you hooked and get you addicted so that you won't be disconnected. It's an addiction. But the moment that you learn to say, okay, I'm going to start my way to autonomy, to be independent of this society, be untethered, so that way we can learn how to survive off the grid. Now what you're doing is taking away the power that they have over you. Now they can no longer provide your general welfare. See? That's what's the problem with our community. We've been so contingent on sucking the breast milk of society that when it's being judged, we get judged along with it because we don't know how to untether ourselves from it. We don't know how to be autonomous outside of it. So if people believe that, you know, going overseas is going to work, that's fine. All I'm saying is it doesn't matter where you're at. You could be in a cave somewhere in the Middle East, in the mountains, you could be found. The technology, I'll probably do a session on that. And I'm going to show you guys the type of technology that's out there. When you guys see how scary this technology is, yo, you can be tracked through speech signature, heat signature, right? Even your carbon footprint. You could be traced and tracked through your carbon footprint. There's no way you can go on the planet that you can hide. Even if you try to go underwater, you go to the Mariana Trench and try to hide in there, you could be found. The technology that they have is remarkable. And in IT, I learned about all this technology because I'm like, wow, that's crazy. However, there's always an Achilles heel to every piece of this technology. If you learn the Achilles heel, then you can learn a way to prevent yourself from being detected. But it's only a matter of time. It's going to be an arms race between you finding ways to counter the things that they create. And you'd actually have to understand the technology in order to do that. It takes a lot of time. But aside of that, you need some kind of supernatural intervention. That's the only way that you can thrive off the grid without worrying about being attacked. You have to live righteously, live independent and autonomous. And if you do that, then you have Yah's protection, because that's his guarantee to his people, even through persecution. Does that mean not going to be persecuted? We're being persecuted right now as a community. And it's going to be a time where they're going to be calling us terrorists and they're going to be openly arresting us and doing all that. That stuff is going to happen. But eventually, eventually a time is going to come where when those things occur, you have to have things in order as a fail-safe, a fallback. You understand what I'm saying? So that's important. So I'm just trying to tell you what it is. He says they ain't finding you in the 8 trench. They can find you in there. I'm going to show you the technology, man. I'm going to show you the technology. They can find you there. They can find you there. Matter of fact, they got technology already down there. Did y'all know that? Maybe I need to bring that up. This gives you an even more appreciation of being in alignment with Yah. And this is what Christianity teaches you, to disconnect from the statutes, laws, and commandments. Take you out of covenant with Yah. This is what Christianity teaches. Covenant with that old covenant is done away with. No, that old covenant has been assimilated into the renewed covenant. It didn't go nowhere. It got modified so it can work in the diaspora. So when they are scattered, they will remember the Most High and wake up and keep the covenant of their forefathers and be preserved until Yah decides to take us home. In the interim, we don't sit and wait, pray, and wait for some man to come out the sky. We got work to do. We have work to do. Even Yeshua told his disciples that in Acts chapter 1, they said, well, when you going to restore the kingdom? Whoa. That's not your business to know. You go be my witnesses, put in that work, and when the time comes, I'll come get you. That's it. That's it. Get wise. Yes, they will. They will go to great lengths to find us. Yes, that's why I say some of us are too outspoken when it comes to things. And some of us draw attention on ourselves unnecessarily. So it'd be difficult if we wanted to be covert, you know what I'm saying, and live off the grid. You know what I'm saying? So we have to learn how to navigate this thing. This is why diplomacy and tact is important, because you'll be able to galvanize the resources and manpower and allies necessary for us to be culturally autonomous off the grid. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what's going to protect us. The wilderness, when the great dragon tries to persecute the children of Yah, it's the wilderness that's going to preserve and protect us. and Yah's provisions in the wilderness. We have to learn how to survive like that way now, because eventually we're going to have to be in that situation if we are persecuted. We just read Matthew chapter 24, where he said you're going to be persecuted. When they persecute you in one city, flee to the next. You have to learn to be mobile. You have to learn to go back or resort back to the ancient times of being a nomad, because that's what they were. Remember I showed you the Bedouins? That's what they did. They moved from grazing pasture to grazing pasture within the wilderness, oasis to oasis within the wilderness. You have to learn to be mobile. You have to get up, move, and go. You got to learn how to do that. You have to learn how to navigate, how to learn to function. It's not easy, but we have time now to learn that before things get more hectic. All right? Because we are lacking a few in number, Yah is going to move so heavy on our behalf that the nations will know Yah is for us by seeing his mighty arm of protection. I agree. And guess what? Even when that happens, these nations are still going to be rebellious and stubborn and still try to afflict us. That's how much they're going to be so blinded by their passion, consume and control everything, that even when they see this and they take notice of it, guess what they're still going to do? They're still going to try to fight against it. And then we're going to see Yah fight on our behalf. In the interim, our job, establish cultural autonomy in our own communities. Create off-the-grid communities, learn how to live off the land, right? Learn how to practically apply Torah again. And in doing all these things, you will unattended yourself from the conveniences of society. So when these things do happen, you learn how to survive. All right? Don't get fat and wax fat now, thinking everything is okay. One thing I will say about truckers, I got one trucker here in the building, they know how to do that because they're on the road all the time away from home. They learn highways and byways. They know how to navigate through certain places. They know where certain holes in the walls are at. They know how to survive. You know what I'm saying? They know how to survive. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I would kind of give that to them. You know what I'm saying? That type of shout out, because they know how to survive. All right. Essence of Ebony Zertana says, do you know anything about Benaiah Israel? Are you talking about the brother that created the Hidden Hebrews documentary? If you're talking about that brother, yes, I even had him on this channel when we had our symposium discussion. I had him on this channel. So if that's who you're referring to, then yes, I know who the brother is. Right? The Swooviest, shout out to the Swooviest in the building, said pride cometh before destruction. Facts. And the nations are going to be haughty. They think they're going to be able to challenge the children of Yah, and they're going to be able to fight against our power. And then in the end, they're going to be put to shame. But in the interim, you know, we know that redemption is going to happen, but the focus is not sitting and waiting for it. You have to be active. You have to build. You have to prepare. It cannot catch you unawares if you're in the process of preparation. So that way, when it comes, you can transition. Learn the etiquette now. So when the feast comes, you know how to deal. You know how to act. You see, this is what we have to do. We have to prepare. We have to be active. We have to wake up our community, and don't just wake them up. You're an Israelite. Keep the statutes, laws, and commandments. All right, I'm doing that. Now what? They need an end game. So we say, okay, let's move towards autonomy, because we have to be prepared for him to receive us. If we're too tethered to society, he can't receive us. We're going to be judged along with society. We're going to be praying for him. Oh, if there's 5 or 10 or 50 or 20 of us righteous in here, can you please not destroy society, Most High? We can't be begging and pleading like that. Why would you get in the way of Yah judging the nations that have plundered his people? America has plundered our people for years, hundreds of years. And we sit here waiting on reparations. Well, you need to internally repair the issues amongst our community, because if you externally give them resources, we're going to squander it. So we need to learn how now to internally repair issues that we have amongst each other, with each other, being disconnected from our culture, our spirituality, socially amongst each other, the indigenous village economic principles we've been removed from. You know what I'm saying? Collective economics, communalism, these things that we have to be fervent about before we can receive anything externally. I'm not sitting here with my hand out waiting. I'm creating reparations now. So when those comes, that will be icing on the cake and the cherry on top. All right. He says the biggest fear of America is righteous communities, not promoting unrighteous judgment, but in policies and BMM show cracks and wicked controllers. Y'all saying it, not me. Redemption is the collaborative reality. Facts. 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 I wholeheartedly agree. Shout out to my brother Seth M in the building. What's going on? The way everlasting. Shalom, shalom to you. All right. See this? No amount of tech that they have is going to compete with the power that will come with those new bodies. I did 20 years IT military. Every phone call is routed through US. Fort Detrick, Maryland has been for decades. You cannot take the technology already in place. So I guess I'll do a session on that. I'm going to show you so much stuff that you can see right now that has been declassified patents that the military has. It is mind-boggling. For every tech that we have today, they are 10, 15, 20 years ahead of us. They are. When you see military tech, they get first dibs on everything. It's ridiculous. That's why I say, unless you learn counterintelligence, put counterintelligence measures in place to deal with the technology implementations, even AI. They have AI that's tracking you right now. Everything about you is being tracked via AI. Everything. I'm gonna tell you one thing. So I did. I was an IT solutions engineer architect for a company that was in the retail industry, right? So if you know anything about IT, you know being a solutions engineer or architect is like a highly specialized role, right? But the reason why I'm bringing it up is because one of the companies that we interface with the NCR, right? I don't know if any of y'all know who NCR is, but they are POS retailer or PS retail technology, right? So now they have worked with Amazon, and Amazon has this contactless shopping experience, right? Where you go in, you grab what you want, and you leave out. That's contactless, right? You don't have to interface with a POS, a point of sale machine, or interface with a cashier or a saleswoman, whatever. But here's the thing. The moment you walk in, it's not about you picking up something and walking out. Like if you have a microchip or a card or whatever the case may be, scan with your phone. A lot of the technology that they're showing you now is like scan with your phone, but they have other things that you can embed in the skin and so forth to do it. But it's not that. That's not the part. That's the part that people focus on. My job was to look at the behavior of the shopper and be able to say from the point of contact, well, not point of contact, but the point of arrival to the point of exit, how can we track the behavior of that individual that's going in there shopping so you can curtail the shopping experience around that person? Now, when I was in college, right, I went to college for forensic psychology. Objective is to create behavioral profiles of potential criminals or criminals that exist. So that way you can use that as a template to identify future criminals. What is so interesting about that is the behavior technology that they have. When you walk into the stores, the first thing they do is they have eye tracking technology. They go, when you come in, their job is to scan your iris to see what are you looking at. And what happens is they have digital signage, which are these screens that advertise things to you based on what you're looking at when you're in the store. So if I come in the store, look at headphones, the moment I look at a sign, it's going to display their headphone sales. Oh, we have this on sale. I'm like, wow, how did they know this? Sometimes on your phone, you know, when you browse on your phone, you go to a website, you're like, man, how they show me this ad? I was just talking about this. All the microphones in your phone are active. And if you don't turn those permissions off, they capture everything that you say. Your camera as well can also capture the things that you do. Your phone itself is capturing data about you constantly, and it's being fed. And then on the dark web, that data is being hacked, or people inside the companies are leaking it to third parties that are now sharing that information on the dark web, where you can go in there and get all the data you want on anybody. But our job is to say, how can we curtail the shopping experience through contactless pay with shoppers that want to come in and leave out? So because shoppers want that convenience, they are surrendering to technology. So now we can track everything. We go to look to see what lobes of the brain light up when they look at certain things. So you can know, oh, they don't like this, or they do like that. We have technology to see all of that. Technology to see your eyes, to see your body language, to see what lobes of your brain light up when you go in there, to see what you're attracted to, what you don't like. So now you have customized digital signage. And now what happens is you have arrow markings that point you to areas of the store that you will be interested in. The technology that we have today, I'm talking about just in the retail space. I'm not talking about military. retail space was coming down the pike, you would be like, whoa, I would be terrified to walk into a store like that. To be honest with you, they track so much information about you, you're willing to surrender it for convenience. So don't let nobody tell you, oh, the technology, you can't hide nowhere. Anybody that's talking right now, they already have enough information on you to find you anywhere on this planet. They have enough. If you're on YouTube, they already got enough. If you have a cell phone, you already got enough. If you got a computer, if you have a job, they already have enough. They have everything they need to track you. So unless you understand the technology and you know ways to counter that technology, or number two, that can work as substitute to that, or it can work, it can work in conjunction with that, is being able to restore the statute laws, commandments, get back into a right standing with Yah, get into covenant with him, with Yah. So that way you can have that supernatural oversight to shield you when the time comes. You learn how to live untethered from society to become autonomous in case you need to be mobile and move and survive. You learn that here before you relocate somewhere else. If you don't know how to do that here, it's going to be difficult to survive once you leave here. And you must make alliances with other nations as independent contractors. Hence why you need to create your own IP that they will come and source from you to say, man, we like what you're doing. Make contracts with other governments, make contracts with other entities outside of America. I did Electrical Globalizing Black Power. I show you how to do it. I show you how to get it done, because you're going to need allies. Nobody's an island by themselves. You're going to need allies when the time comes. And if you're over here talking crazy and reckless, you're going to scare away all the allies that you're going to need to give you breathing room until your redemption draws nigh. You have to move smart. All right? You have to move smart. You look at this. You see this? Me and my coworker were talking about traveling. My phone rang, and with a telemarketer trying to sell me a cruise vacation. Yes, they have technology that ambient capture of data that then gets funneled to third parties that are sold by big corporations and or hacked or leaked and brought to the third parties. So that way people that are communicating on the dark web, they can then share your information. Companies go and they buy it on the dark web, so then they can go and promote things to you in real life. These things happen all the time. There's no way you can get away from this. You can minimize this stuff, but they've already captured enough. So now that they captured enough about you, you have to just be aware of that. And this is why supernatural intervention is the only way you can get the shield of protection necessary when you are untethered and when you are autonomous to survive what's about to come. All right. So if you guys want me to do a lecture on this, let me know. You know what I'm saying? Let me know if you guys want me to do that. So Judah Supreme says, how do you turn that off on your iPhone? Well, you can get a jailbroken iPhone and remove all those permissions, right? But I don't want to promote jailbroken items, because I'm not going to promote for people to do something illegal. I'm just saying, if you have a jailbroken iPhone, or if you have a rooted Android image for your phone, you can circumvent that, or get the black phone. Get the black phone. Let me show you what the black phone is. Hold on one second. All right, so let me show y'all what I'm talking about so you guys can see. Let me show you the black phone. Well, it used to be the black phone. Black phone is not out right now. They have silent circle phone. Let me show it to you so you guys can see. I'm gonna put it in the chat for you guys. Let me drop it in here for you guys. I'm gonna put it in the chat for you guys. And then I'm gonna show you on the screen what I'm talking about, okay? Let me show you. All right. Shouts to my brother Jordan's Codec for the donation. He says, do the lecture. Okay, I'll show you. You can still get the old black phones on Amazon, eBay, or something like that. But now the company changed it to the silent phone. So I'm gonna show you guys what that is. All right, let me show my screen real quick. All right, here it is, okay? All right, you can add enterprise-grade encryption to any existing Android or iOS device by simply installing Silent Phone. So now what they're saying is, instead of you having a separate phone like the black phone, which I'm going to show you in a second, you can use this layer, this application layer, and securitize all your communication. This is why VPN is important. I always recommend the Tor browser. Tor browser allows you via VPN to browse anonymously online where your ISP or the cell phone company cannot detect where you're communicating to and from. That's also how the dark web works when you use .onion as your, I would say, your URL destination from communicating from server to server or site to site or device to device over a network, right? But you can use Tor browser to browse securely anonymously, or you can implement enterprise grade applications that encrypt your discussion from endpoint to endpoint. It's called endpoint encryption, right? From one point, from when you speak, it encrypts it and it transfers it over in various packets to another point that cannot be intercepted or decrypted in the middle because it doesn't have the keys to decrypt it, right? But you can get this and you can add this application onto your current phone, or you can just get the black phone altogether, right? And the black phone itself is something that is more secure because it's hardware and software integration. The problem with just the application layer is that it's not always tied into the hardware. The hardware is not over there to support the application layer, right? So I'm gonna show you the black phone. Let me see if I can find one. I had one a couple years ago. Let me see if I can find it so you guys can see it if you're interested in getting one. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. Here's one of them. This is just one that I just found just randomly on eBay. Okay, let me show it to y'all. Here it is. Black phone 2 unlocked. All right. So you can get one of these if you need to communicate off the grid. So that's another thing. When you're off the grid, how can you communicate securely with other parties, right? You need to learn this technology. If you want the lecture, I could do the lecture on that. He said, what's it called? Tor browser. It's called Tor browser. That's it right there. Okay. Stack says Devon got that bat line. But anyway, I can go over to this in a more formal, because I used to also be an IT educator. And I would like put together PowerPoints for various technologies and display it to end users or clients, whether it be business to business or whether it be customers or whatever. Sometimes we would have these pilot groups that would come in and test technology, and I would have to demonstrate it for them and explain it to them. So I can do that for y'all too, so you can know technology wise how to be secure and moving about, and how you can understand the technology is out there that tracks you and traces you and has behavioral patterns of you, and how you can deal with it. You know what I'm saying? It's important. All right. So I think I'm going to stop there, family. I'm going to stop. Let me keep this short. All right. Again, stay tuned for this upcoming Friday. I'm going to have a discussion again with Matt. And Matt, aka So Real, who's a Christian apologist. We're gonna have a discussion this Friday, yeah, willing. And then next week, I'm gonna try to get the two rabbis on here so we can go head to head, all right, for you guys. And in the interim, I'm always uploading content, whether it's video, whether it's articles, whether it's books or anything. I'm gonna be adding those things to the Patreon. Now, what I was gonna do, because I already put a book on the Patreon for off the grid stuff, survival, how to survive off the grid in any scenario. It even showed you how to survive break-ins in your home. I have that book on the Patreon, but I'll be putting more books on the Patreon as far as like off the grid technologies that you can create, that you can use now. I'll start adding that to the Patreon for you guys. All right. So if you guys can patronize the Patreon, you can get access to not just the resources for scholarship, also resources for practical everyday usage as well. All of that is already on the Patreon, right? We got health stuff on there. I got survival techniques on there. I got other books on tons of other things. I got cryptocurrency books on there. I got all types of stuff. I'm going to be adding more and more. So please patronize our Patreon so your investments can take you a long way. We can give you all the resources you need to everything we talk about on these live streams. You get quick access to the repository, and you can add these things to your library so that you can survive what's about to come, and you can defend your particular worldview. All right. So with that being said, we're still waiting on the King David, the Lucid Fire, to step up to the plate, or any new Wahabian to step up to the plate, and let's deal with the Sumerian, Anunnaki, and the Elohim is the same as the Adonai. Let's deal with that. Let's deal with that. All right. I already put that challenge out. Still waiting for that. Nobody has hit me yet to really sit down and have this discussion, because again, if you go back to the other discussion I had with people who brought certain claims up, you know how we rock here. If you've been a day one and you've been here for some time, you know how we get busy. You know what I'm saying? You can't just come in here with some random assertion and think we're going to accept it, right? You're not going to come in here. You're not going to deceive the people. You're not going to come in here and you're not going to remove people off of their square. Why? Because the central focus of this ministry is to equip people to think for themselves, make their own choices. All the tools and sources that I have, I give it back to you guys. I've not been stingy on anything. You go to any of my live streams, any of my lectures, I've given y'all everything. And there's still more. And I'm still giving more. There's so much stuff I have to give. I just want you to have the tools to do your part. All right. And again, like my brother Sep says, the after party is always going down 24/7, 365 on the Patreon, www.patreon.com/DivineProspect. All right. I'll be adding new stuff again on there tonight. All right. Maybe along the lines of some stuff that we're talking about right now, so you guys have a heads up. So before I do the lecture, you already have the sources for that, and just to equip and empower you guys to get these things done, man. Because like I said, this is the stuff that we need. All that other fluff and stuff that you get from these other channels and it is what it is, right? Everybody has a role to play. I don't want to belittle anybody else. All I'm saying is we have a unique role, and that's why this ministry and me were marginalized in our own community. Because of the excess of dogma that prevents our community from thinking outside the box and truly preparing for what's about to come. But you know what? I'm going to stay in there. I get messages from you guys all the time encouraging me. I tell you guys all the time, the best leaders are the ones that don't want to do it, who don't want the job. I never asked for the job. And all the time, when I say all the time, I mean frequently, like a couple of times every month, I don't want to do it. I tell you, I say, yeah, it's a lot. I don't want to do it. It's too much responsibility. It's too much accountability. It's too much transparency. It's very even difficult to live a normal life doing this. It's truly difficult to live a normal life doing what I do. And other leaders can attest to it. So I never brag about being a leader. I never brag about being a teacher. I don't brag about these things. I do it out of necessity. I do it because I was chosen to do it, not because I asked for it. And like I said, if it wasn't from the Most High and for y'all encouraging me, I would have hung up my jersey a long time ago. And it's only because of y'all and only because of the Most High that I have not done it yet. But if y'all ever depart from me and y'all stop supporting this ministry, trust me, I will hang it up. I'm probably going to hang it up. I'm telling you right now, I'm keeping it in a buck with y'all, because this is a mantle and a weight that I don't wish on anybody. It's a lot. I sacrifice a lot of my personal life in order to do these things for the community. You know what I'm saying? And I don't ask for anything. If anyone wants to give, I'm grateful for it. Even if they don't give, I still give to y'all, right? Because this is what I'm here to do. You know what I mean? Shout out to my brother, Vaughn Parker, here in the building. I appreciate you, my brother. That's my brother right there. Go check him out on Facebook. This is the Moray of the Great Awakening Assembly in Orlando, and also somebody that supports our KHM initiatives. All right. Good brother right there. Did some recent lectures that I thought was groundbreaking. Get you back to the basics as well as break ground, give you depth in other areas. So shout out to my brother Vaughn Parker in the building. All right. Thank you so much, Donna. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate y'all for that. And keep me encouraged, man. I'm not above reproof. I'm not above, receiving prayers and support and and advice, and suggestions. I need all of that. And I'm never going to turn that away. You know what I'm saying? You guys are the lifeline of this ministry. I'm just the PR representative of y'all. All right. That's my job. All right. So with that being said, family, I'm going to end this early. We stop right under the 2-hour mark. Like I said, we'll do the open panel discussion, more Q&As on Friday after me and this Christian apologist trade blows. All right. And then, like I said, pray that these rabbis don't shy away, because I haven't heard back yet after I had the dialogue with Millennial Rabbi on IG. I'm still waiting on these rabbis to agree to it. You know how we do. We're going to get busy with the information. We're not going to do no conspiracy theories and throwing wild assertions and opinions. We're going to stick strict to the facts and have them address the facts. That's it. All right. So hopefully these rabbis agree. It's going to be more than one. Hopefully that's what I was told. It's 2 rabbis. So hopefully 2 or more can join. If it's 1, I don't think that's fair. You know what I'm saying? But if it's 2 or more, I think those are some even odds. All right. We can do it. And then I'll open up the panel for y'all to come in and also ask some questions, but be respectful. Don't be disrespectful. I want y'all to be disrespectful when I open up those lines. All right. This is extremely important. All right. I'm telling you right now, the things that we do, me and all of y'all, we do on this channel when we interface with people outside our community is important. We don't want to scare them away. Right. We want them to feel welcome so they can get this work. All right. It's a calisthenic workout. Right. You have a little bit of pain, but you appreciate it afterwards. Right. So we want to give them a calisthenic workout with this information. That's what we want them to get. So when they leave, they say, wow, we had a pretty good workout. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling a little bit different now. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to be bitter and angry and yell and scream. We don't want to give them that type of energy. We've tried that. We've done that. There's more than one way to skin a cat. And over here, we got the tools to do the skinning. All right. In a good way. So with that, family, I appreciate y'all for watching. Thank you for your support. We had a 2-hour mark. Hope you enjoyed this Wednesday check-in session. I love all you guys. If you need me in any way, shape, or form, if I can help, email me at kingdomharbinger@gmail.com. Please be patient and allow me to get to you because we get inundated with requests all the time, but I will get back to you guys. You know what I'm saying? Keep your head above water. Know that y'all's here for you. And if we can help you as well in this walk, we're here to do that. Email me. Like I said, the after party is on the Patreon. I will see you guys this Friday. All right. Love you, family. Peace and shalom.